So this is going to be a quick video on runes. This is my friend Shane, and Shane's going to do a quick reading for me. I'm going to turn it over to him to talk for just a minute about what runes are and what he's going to do.
The runes are the alphabet of the Germanic people. Tacitus wrote about them, and, well, it's assumed it was about the runes when he described their divination practices, which is where the tradition of using runes for divination comes from to us in modern times. Each of the runes has a specific sound as well as a sort of glyph meaning, and based on those things you can work out what a pile of them in a certain order actually means. The decision on which runes are cast is a subconscious decision. It's not so much a means of telling what's going to happen as understanding the events that are around you. So with that, I'm going to ask Tina to draw 3 runes from the bag and lay them out in front of her. The first rune we have is Dagas. Dagas makes sort of a sound like breathe. Second is Wunjo. Wunjo literally translates to joy, but it makes a W or V sound. They're interchangeable in old German languages. And Ehwas, which makes an E sound. Dagaz literally means day. Something in the past position that normally indicates something starting. It's dawn or beginning. So there's the beginning of something in the recent past that surrounds your issue. The present is Wunjo, which means joy. Something very soon, next 24 to 48 hours probably, or in the last 12 to 24 hours is going to happen that's going to bring joy. In the long term, Ehwas literally means horse. It usually indicates travel of some sort. But the horse also can indicate not so much travel, but in modern society, travel for fun. Ratha would be a long trip, whereas this would be a fun trip across the county. So if I had to read the 3 of them together, some sort of new journey is coming. And Wunjo meaning joy can mean, something really good is going to happen, or something that will make you further towards your goals. Something is brewing right now that's going to clear some of your obstacles. That's what that would mean to me. And the obstacles, it's something new, and it's going to involve some sort of luxury travel, not, oh, I gotta drive to Detroit to sell car stereos to, Middle Eastern people, it's literally a pleasurable journey. So something that you're looking forward to even.
So now, how do you feel about the reading of reversals?
In this type of a spread, I would not read any reversals.
Why?
Because it's literally, I pulled this out and set it down. Reversals or Merc staves would be in a situation where I take all of the runes, anything that's upside down goes away. I don't read those, but I try to preserve where everything that's right side up is. Because all of this tells a story as well. And it all relates to everything else here in a certain way. You can imagine a big circle around it. Closer to this center, Thurisaz, which is the rune of giants, usually causing trouble, as giants are wont to do. But you have Ihwas right here, which is a good thing, and you have Kanaz right here. And, you know, you can orient these in almost a straight line. So this is one thing. This is all telling one part of a story. This is the rune of man. It's Manaz. It's about human connection and people around you in community, believe it or not. And Kanaz, being along the same path, is, you know, there's been some good things and there's some troublemaking elements, but they all light your way to something involving your community. And this is a protective sigil here at Algiz, and it's, I'd say, yeah, it's about a 45-degree angle from this. So it's not opposing it like it would be here or here, or in line with it here or here, but over here it's providing some protection but not getting in the way of things happening, sort of just buffering a little bit. And Othala is literally the rune of Odin. It's all about wisdom and knowledge and self-sacrifice, usually for that wisdom and knowledge. And it relates directly to this troublemaking here in an almost oppositional manner. So these would be dark to one another as opposed to in line. And then we have Pertho over here, which is good fortune. So some, you know, knowing you, I know you're not an inside trader, so that's not what this is about. But if someone walked in off the street in a suit and tie, that's what I might think. Is they're not so much gambling as they know something is going to happen. And it's going to, you know, oppose this line, but this is a good thing too. And Yura over here represents natural turning of cycles. Literally, it's the wheel of the year. And that also, you know, these are all sort of in opposition to this line. So you're moving along to this, but there's these influences over here that are sort of blocking it. And maybe they have something to do with the trouble being caused, the chaos. But you also have something helping you, buffering you from some of the worst effects of the chaos. that will keep you moving towards this, strong community, strong friendships. There's benefits out here, and there's protection over here. So you're kind of getting shoved this way, but again, it's going to be a struggle because this is here, and without going through this, you cannot see the light that brings you to this stronger interpersonal connection. The runes are unequivocally tied to Norse religious belief. Your local community was everything in that day and age, and a stronger connection to them was nothing but good. So, if you're moving towards a stronger connection to that community, to that tribe, that's a good thing. Knowing what I know, I would interpret this a certain way, but I won't do that on camera. But I mean, it's so hard to try and move these to oppositional and explaining that, but it's more about the angle between
The 5-minute
things.
soundbite.
Right. It's about the angle between things and how they relate to each other. If, for example, you have one and it's clearly pointing this way, and you have one over here that's clearly pointing this way. For example, Tyr would be the obvious choice because you can tell where Tyr is pointed. Tyr is this arrow-shaped one. You can see that these oppose one another somehow, but these maybe don't so much. They lead into something. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't worry about, for example, anything that turns up upside down being reversed, but you should look at the good and bad of each individual rune. For example, Gibo. Gibo means a gift. But again, tied very strongly with Norse and Viking culture. When you're given a gift, you're expected to give a gift. A gift is an obligation. It's not a present. It's not some windfall. So when that comes, you're expected to repay it in some way. And so this can have negative meaning just as much as positive meaning. Some of the gods were not the nicest beings at times, and Odin could be, I can't imagine Odin being kind of a butt, but it could happen. There's stories where he's been tricked into betraying his favorite army because he made an oath. If he swears to something, he pretty much sticks to it. So if he's, obligated in some way, if that force of nature is obligated in some way, there may be nothing you can do to change that. So it might just be that, Odin and the giants conspire for something. Even though they're natural enemies, they both want the same thing, and that is an overwhelming influence. But all of this, the which lands which way, which is at what angle to one another, is all controlled in rune lore terms by Weird and Orlog, and they mean fate loosely translated, but that's a really bad loose translation. But it explains, all of the things that have happened lead up to this. You're not getting out of this. It's going to happen. If it happens here, or even down there, that's where this is all going, and there's only a few paths to divert that river. So I hope that helps to understand the runes a little better. I would encourage everyone to, if you're interested in rune lore, check out sunnyway.com. The young lady who writes that site writes fabulous information about the runes, their meanings, and the Norse myths involved, including, I believe she's got something about Odin's sacrifice to himself where he takes up the runes, and the rune poem that explains what the power of rune magic can be.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much.
You are very welcome.